Welcome back to the Let's Get Wicked podcast. I'm your host, Joker_Jonesy, and today we got lots to talk about. But before I dive into all that, let me introduce our fellow host on the show. And we have someone new on here, so I'll let them go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Robo-Sensei. I really enjoy Villainous. I heard someone talk about it at a game store a long time ago, and eventually I picked it up and the expansions, and I'm like, this is a game that I really want to keep playing. And I help run the community Discord server with Wero, and yeah.
Oh yeah, well, hi, I'm Wero. I rambled on last time. I'd like Robo said, I help run the Discord. I don't really do that much. I mainly let him do it, but my main thing is the wiki for Villainous.
I'm Headmaster Ditto. I'm the odd one out. I don't really do anything but sit here and gush about the game. Don't mind me.
And that's what you do best.
Yeah, exactly.
There needs to be a gusher, like those candies that existed like in the 90s or something. I don't know. Did they make
those?
Those
Were fantastic. Those were incredible.
Oh, they were. Yeah, but
I've
now
never had
they just taste like
once.
plastic, though. You know what I mean? That's what it. Well, that's the thing. Well, see, I'm pretty sure Ditto is like. Would you say you're probably the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan of the four of us?
Of the four of us, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of the server, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say of the four of us, you are definitely the gusher because you're a Kingdom Hearts fan. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played Kingdom Hearts 2 for like an hour, and then I got bored with it.
Oh, really?
I have not played any of them, so I will take myself out of this particular
no.
contest.
I actually could talk pretty good because the original Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite games of all time, actually. So I could speak, but that's not what this show is about. Let's Get Wicked is all about.
I mean,
not tabletop simulator, Disney Villainous, a game where you take on a Disney villain and you try to go do your own evil deeds. And today we originally, this being our second show, we were going to talk about our tier list, but we're actually going to save that one for next time because, believe it or not, we are recording this the day before the podcast actually launches. And a few days ago, we heard some news, some very perfectly wretched news, that we have a new expansion on the horizon. And it's called Perfectly Wretched. And we got lots to say. Overall thoughts before we really do a deep dive. What do y'all think?
I have mixed feelings. Definitely Pete came out of nowhere. So we're doing Cruella de Vil, we're doing Mother Gothel, we're doing Pete. I am psyched for those first two. Pete, it's definitely better than Oogie Boogie. I really hope they never do Oogie Boogie. I know you guys really stand but Pete is, this is our first time we're outside of the Disney animated canon, but I think I have rationalized it now because he's kind of predating the canon because he's from they're basing all his gameplay off of those old black and white shorts that are leading up into eventually we'll do Snow White sort of thing. So he's grandfathered in, and I am fine with that. But looking at his gameplay so far, he just seems kind of generic. He feels like what someone would say, make me a Disney villain without any actual context from a movie. Not even make me a Disney villain, make me a character for Villainous, but I'm not giving you a character. Just make one.
Interesting.
It's okay, I'll make Bob the villain, and he needs to do these things. The goals that we've seen so far, there's accumulate 10 strength at one location, and there's play a certain card and get at least 4 power. And those all seem kind of generic-y. Maybe, we haven't seen a lot of his deck. We've seen 4 cards from his deck and 2 of his heroes. Maybe there's something interesting there. I am holding out for maybe there will be, but from what we've seen so far, he seems kind of very generic. There doesn't really seem to be much flavor to him that there is in all the other ones.
But you're interested at least in the other two, right? You would say.
Oh,
so.
very much so. I'm really psyched to play Mother Gothel, and Cruella seems fun as well.
Yeah.
There are 5 objective tokens for Pete. Do we know how they're going to be set up?
Have to guess it's just a random 4. You shuffle them up when the game starts and just deal in 4 random ones. That's the only thing I can think of.
From the picture we have of his realm, there's one space that doesn't have one.
But there's also a gold token under his thing. So I'm thinking what's happening is once he completes a goal, he takes it off the board.
That's my guess.
Probably.
I think so. When I read the comicbook.com article the way that it was phrased in the article, at least, is that you get to choose. So, because it also makes sense that, like,
Dude, that's way better.
yeah, because, like, I think that's what's going to make Pete really interesting is the fact that, like, it seems like you
Well,
flip the goal tokens over on each of the locations. You get to choose where they go. And then, like, the opponent, when they're fading you, actually has to kind of guess on how you're going to do stuff or, like, what you're actually trying to do. Because they're obviously going to know, like, all right, you're going to pick this one. You're going to pick this one probably. But where are they going to put it? I don't know. I need to figure that out. So there's a little bit more of a meta game to that.
Do
I
you
think it's more
do you
likely-
put them on your own board face down?
That's what it seems
I
like.
think you do put them down face down because it's Clarabelle Cow
Yeah.
will reveal one
Flips
to
them
everybody.
up, yeah.
But
Oh.
I don't think Pete himself picks where they go because then you're gonna have like newer players being like, I don't know where the fuck to put these.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be like you're gonna start the game with analysis paralysis. So I
wonder
think it's more
how-
likely it's gonna be randomly determined. Like pick 4, throw them down, and then look at them later.
Maybe.
I wonder how flexible it's really going to be because I'm looking at the board right now, and the objective on the board says complete the 4 selected goals. So I don't know if Pete's going to get to choose out of those 5 and when he has to choose which ones go to which location. I don't know. If there's a good amount of flexibility to that, then
Because I would assume
And
Pete
also,
has to know.
this may be the ultimate like counter meta.
I might assume
Kinda
that
care.
they start face up. Oh no, because Clarabelle. But
Yeah.
Clarabelle flips them over.
Right,
So
okay.
it's
I
at
was-
least hidden information for him.
I was gonna say it made it look like that you just flip it over to the money bag side when it's done, and that's like how you tell it's
No,
done.
that
No, because there's the one that's so like
Yeah.
Podunk Landing doesn't have one. So I'm pretty
Okay.
sure he already did.
takes it
the
off when it's
Podunk
done. Yeah.
Landing.
That would make sense.
I'm wondering how flexible he's going to be because he could end up being the counterplay character
Yeah.
In terms of what?
in terms because here's what I'm thinking.
Oh, you mean like
Saying-
setting up his goals to match
Yeah,
whoever?
setting up to match whoever he's against. So like if he's playing against somebody who has a bunch of conditions against allies, he probably doesn't want the one that says have allies with 10 strength here.
Yeah. That's a
Being an option
point.
just because he can skirt around that
Oh,
condition.
right. Yeah.
That kind of
There's-
counterplay.
There's some characters where like their conditions are worthless in certain matchups.
Exactly. And I think that's what, if I'm understanding what Pete is like here, that's kind of the idea with him,
Yeah.
is just
okay.
knowing your opponent's deck and knowing, okay, I can get around this.
Yeah.
I can
but
invalidate these cards.
I think he'll be
that
really
is-
interesting. Yeah.
That seems more likely for like a fan-made character who's like someone who was already familiar with everybody. If this is going to be, this is not an expansion. This is an expand alone. This is
True.
potentially someone's first game. So here's Villainous. Here, go play Pete. They're not going to know what the hell they're doing, and they're just going to randomly pick it. And I think because of that, it's just going to be randomly determined what your goals are. And then once they're down, you can take a look at what they are. So I don't think. I mean,
so
we don't
far
know.
with these
We don't know. This is just
expansion
guessing.
sets too. They've had kind of a simple, easy to understand character. They've had the middle of the road, and then they've had one that had kind of a complex, weird mechanic.
Yeah.
And I think that is Pete here. I think as complex as this goal thing is making itself out to be at this point, like I said, we'll know eventually anyway. But I think this could be set up as a really interesting, flexible type of character.
I think one of the things I want to
It's
point
like-
out, or can finish your thought before I go.
Those I was going to say, no two people are going to play Pete the same way. Each person is probably going to look at these 5 different goals and say, okay, I like getting to X, Y, or Z better because that's just my play style versus, oh, well, I like playing somebody who's super heavy into vanquishing, so I have to play Scar or I have to play, stuff like that.
Yeah. One of the things I was going to point out is that I think this expansion is like, I agree that, yeah, it is a standalone game. You're trying to introduce as new people, but I think we're with this expansion overall, and we'll talk about this in more in depth with the other, obviously with Pete and the other characters, is I don't really think this is meant for newcomers. I think this is honestly like meant for, you were a fan of Disney Villainous probably from the beginning. You have probably at least played one of the expansions, and both of the expansions have a relatively like complex character in them, or someone with a lot of like deep complexity compared to the other characters. And this one just like cracks it all on its head. You know, like none of these. Granted,
I will say none of these villains seem like the easy one. There is no Hades or Scar here. I mean, the closest is maybe Cruella, but like
Yeah.
looking at her cards, she has a card that puts tokens on the board. She has a card that moves the tokens around. She has a card that captures the tokens once they're on her board. Like she has a lot of moving parts.
Mhm.
And
Right.
then with Mother Gothel, there's Rapunzel is shuffling along all on her own, and then she's trying to get trust, but then like I don't know, it seems like none of these are the simple one.
no.
And there's also with Mother Gothel is that her board is just completely not assembled like someone else's board is.
No, I noticed this too.
She does
is
have a
that-
unique board.
Yeah, one of the
there's no doubt about
space with
that.
the one at
Because-
the top has 2 card plays, and it's
Well,
like power 2.
And it's pretty obvious
Yeah.
as to why. It's
Oh.
because Rapunzel will always be in the realm, so you're always going to have something blocked.
True.
Here's something I
It's
just
just
noticed and don't like. Your second fate action is at the tower and it's on top.
Oh,
If
so
you're trying to
ooh,
keep Rapunzel
you're never
there
gonna
all the
have-
time,
ooh.
if you're trying to
You're
keep
always
Rapunzel
gonna be
there all the
armor.
time, you're not going to be able to fate 2 turns in a row.
Oh wait,
that's bad.
well, hold on. Because Rapunzel moves at the end of your turn. So
I
if
thought it
you
was at
spend
the
your
start.
turn moving Rapunzel back, she's then going to immediately.
Oh,
move
it's at the.
snugly
I
back.
thought it was the start of her turn.
No, it's the end of your turn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But if you have, like, if she's at the forest and you don't want her to move to Corona, you'd have to defeat her and
You'd have to, pull her back
pull her
on your
back
turn.
unless you have another card
She'd
that lets you move her back
Probably
all the time.
ooh.
That's
Oh, we
rough.
should.
Well, you don't
explain
mind
what
her
Rapunzel-
going to Corona, you just don't want her staying in Corona.
Yeah. Ugh. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that.
We should
Either
explain
way.
what Rapunzel does to people.
Yeah, we should.
Yes.
So,
I can-
Mother Gothel is her goal is start your turn with 10 trust. So rather than what we all thought, where we're going to move Rapunzel back, or at least that's what I think most of us thought.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's completely different. Which honestly, it's more thematic.
Nobody can think of these weird mechanics except the game designers.
True.
No joke. Well, it's
Well, I guess
because
because we're all trying to probably think within what they've done before, whereas
Yeah.
they're actively trying to think
Yeah.
of new stuff.
And we just can't pick up on that because they're the ones all behind it.
Well, like one thing I've noticed is like if you look at the core game, like the core game doesn't break the engine really. Like the only things they establish are
Right, because
here are these
it's
actions.
supposed to be
Yeah.
it's supposed to be the introductory, the base game. You got all these relatively more simple characters. You don't have all these extra
Moving
secondary
parts.
piles like Evil Queen and Facilier and Scar.
Yeah.
I mean, the wonkiest one is Ursula because her lock token stays on the whole time and she doesn't have a vanquish. But
Yeah.
everyone else, like you've got our first kill a hero, Captain Hook. You've got our first insta win. You got Queen of Hearts, and then you've got some item hunters and Maleficent who are start a turn villain. And then you get a Prince John.
Right.
And Mother Gothel kind of seemed like Prince John-ish.
I think
because
she
she's
might
trying to,
be
like,
a bit more, unless you have a lot of stuff that just makes you lose trust, or that you don't have a lot of stuff that can actually gain you trust. I think she might be like Prince John, but better.
Yeah.
Because of how she has really powerful bottom spaces,
Mhm.
Yeah, those are
and
pretty
like
good.
you always, if you want to, you can bounce between 2 spaces that always have 3 things available.
Yes, you
So
can.
heroes cannot cripple you down to 2 spaces unless you're going to the other 2 spaces, which you're probably going to be going to Corona for Fate, but otherwise.
Both of her fate locations are normal sort of spaces, which is different from.
Except like Rapunzel's Tower, like you have play a card and Fate and stuff, but like I don't like locations that don't have gain power.
Mhm.
True.
Do we know what's up on top for Corona?
my best guess is that that's the gain 1 power spot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
because they don't
okay,
have-
I have been able to suss out the upper right for Corona is
Discard.
discard
I'm
cards.
guessing the top
Okay.
left one is gain 1.
Yeah. That's
Just
pretty
'cause it's-
consistent.
Or
with
she
both.
might not have a gain 1 power location. Because I think of all, like, we've already seen all the actions for Pete and for Cruella de Vil. They don't have a move a hero action.
They
Mother
don't?
Gothel seems primed to have one, but where would it go? Could that be in the Snuggly
Well,
Duckling?
I don't
Or-
know that she's going to have a move a hero thing necessarily because Rapunzel, you move by vanquishing her. And
you
that's
could-
the only one you
there-
really care about.
There's probably also cards that'll let you move Rapunzel.
Yeah, so like the Sideburn Stabbing moves her. Egomania moves her. Vanquishing her moves her all the way back to Rapunzel's tower, but if you had to move a hero action, that could move her one space.
Okay, so anyway, Rapunzel says, Rapunzel says at the end of Mother Gothel's turn, move Rapunzel one location towards Corona. If Rapunzel is already at Corona, Mother Gothel loses one trust. When Rapunzel is defeated, move her back to Rapunzel's tower. And we're assuming that Rapunzel will start the game in play at the tower.
Yeah.
And
that's
also,
the only thing that makes sense.
She also acts as a four strength hero.
Right.
It's also
Then Mother Gothel's locations from left to right are Rapunzel's tower, the Snuggly Duckling, the forest, and Corona.
Oh, so since Rapunzel stays in play and it says to move her when she's defeated, does that mean that when you defeat her, would that remove any items attached to her?
I would assume
Technically,
so.
yes, I would say so, yeah, because that's how all the other ones work.
So Frying Pan's probably just going to be add strength.
Yeah.
It's also important to
Just make
note
it hard
that
this one
she is a
time.
tile. So something we didn't point out about this is that one of the
Yeah,
things
she
if you go
can't
on
be shuffled
Twitter,
into the deck, I'm guessing.
you can go
let
to
me
Ravensburger.
pull up
Yeah.
rules for defeat, because I know
Well, defeat means when it's done, you discard the allies and the heroes. But Rapunzel just said when Rapunzel is defeated, you move her. And in order to move something, it has to be in play, or else it would be.
It does say defeat though, because Hypnotize says defeat it.
And then
but I
move
think
it
it
to the
also
bottom of your
says. Let me check the.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So
Hypnotize, defeat a hero and move them to the bottom of your board. So it doesn't explicitly say discard items on them, but it's implied. So I think if you do
It'd
defeat
be the same case here.
she will lose.
Does Jafar even have any fate items?
Wish.
Doesn't? Yes,
Yeah.
wish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I assume if you hypnotize Aladdin with wish, you wouldn't.
Yeah, he just loses the wish, yeah.
Yeah, you just lose
Okay.
cash.
So I assume that when you defeat Rapunzel and move her back, that a Frying Pan would be discarded.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
by the way, is why Aladdin's worded the way it does, that if he has something like the lamp, or
Oh,
like
when
the
he's
way the lamp's worded, that it comes back to your side of the board too.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, the lamp would get discarded when Aladdin died, and
That
that
would
just defeats the
suck.
purpose.
Yeah, that would be
Well, that
fun.
would be total
Well,
ass.
I mean, I think he's built like that to ensure that to make sure that you get your items back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we know for a fact Rapunzel's a tile. Yeah, Ravensburger showed this image off on Twitter where it's actually showing the card as a tile. So rather than it being part of her fate deck, it's actually something that's unique. So we are assuming she does start and play probably at the tower, because obviously your mover starts
That
at
would
the
make
first
the most
space.
sense.
So she's kind of like Radigan's objective tile.
Yeah, which I find, we keep getting into this. I just find more interesting that they're okay with making these extra components, but I'm okay with this.
As long as the price stays the same.
Yeah, the thing I'm most surprised about is she's got on the forest, on the top, just one space. That is really weird to me.
Well,
Super weird.
It kind of goes back to what I was mentioning before. Rapunzel is going to be spending a lot of time in those two middle squares.
Mhm.
So you want to make sure that she's not being super inhibitive just by existing.
Right.
Would you guys think
Plus-
the Snuggly Duckling's got
plus-
two at the top?
No, it's probably 1, 2.
Oh,
I don't know if we got a good shot of that. But the thing about it is, Mother Gothel has a lot of interaction with Rapunzel off screen, but on screen really doesn't up until the climax, if I'm remembering the movie right.
Yeah.
I mean, she
So-
starts off
Tank
the movie. There's the
Yeah.
whole
There's
song.
the song
she
at the
sings to
beginning,
her.
and then the very ending scene. In the middle, there's not, from what I remember, a whole lot of direct confrontation. So
No, there is actually, because there's the whole beginning where they have this whole discussion about no, you can't leave the tower, and then she says, "Hey, can you go get me a birthday present?" And Mother Gothel goes off, and then Rapunzel goes off. They don't meet again until about 2/3 of the way through the movie, where there's the reprise of Mother Knows Best. And then after that, they sing the whole love song, and then there's all of the betrayal runarounds, the Stabbingtons. And Rapunzel goes back to Mother Gothel, and then it goes back to the tower. And that's when Rapunzel realizes, "Oh, I'm the special baby."
That's true.
And she
Yeah.
cuts her hair.
Yeah. So that there is definitely interaction between them.
There is some, but
Do you think like the king and queen are gonna be here?
probably not. They got what, 15 seconds of screen time total.
I'm actually curious about the heroes because what it would be.
It's gonna be
Flynn.
So we know it's going to
obviously.
be Pascal. I didn't put Pascal on the wiki because I can't see what he does. We got Villain Rider, we got Maximus, we got Pascal. Maximus references Royal Riders, so those are probably going to be a couple of
just
Yeah.
generic
Queen's guards kind of.
units.
probably some of the guys in the Snuggly Duckling who sing the song.
I don't think those would be heroes, would they?
I know those would
They
absolutely be
They
heroes.
would.
Because
Yeah. I mean,
if
they
you're
help-
against the villain, they're a hero.
They helped out at the end though.
They did.
Hmm.
And then there's probably going to be like
Oh, duh!
cards like the lanterns.
Yeah. Like
As
yeah.
Well, I'd see that as an effect or something, maybe.
Yeah, that would be an effect.
Probably
I
like
don't know.
the lanterns would probably be an effect that moves Rapunzel.
Probably.
Yeah, just moves
Or
the forward
just
one.
straight up breaks trust.
Could do.
Yeah, I'm
don't
curious if
think-
Rapunzel is gonna be the only way to lose trust, or like
I know,
make it
because
so
Flynn
she.
Rider for sure, you can tell.
I don't think
Take some
moving
away.
Rapunzel with Fate would really be worth doing because the effect happens at the end of Mother Gothel's turn. So like you fate them and now they're at Corona. Okay, it doesn't do anything at the start of their turn, and
Yeah, maybe
they're
so.
probably gonna move them back at the end before
But
the
then
end
they
of their
still have to
turn
spend
anyway.
time doing that. I mean,
Sure.
you don't want to be sending her back to the tower every turn.
No,
No, because that would
because you
honestly.
want the fate open.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a management of keeping Rapunzel as back far as possible, and also I want these spaces next turn.
Mhm.
That's gonna be really interesting to like micromanage that.
It's gonna be a fun metagame to play with her.
Yeah.
But you got 3 spaces, you got 3 actions on the bottom for 2 locations, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes her really strong. But we'll see just how strong that ends up being in the end.
The only card we haven't
I
talked
know
about
what
yet
those
is
other
Hairbrush.
actions are.
So Hairbrush is like when you play it or when it gets moved to her location, you gain a trust. So I'm curious.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Obviously it makes sense for the move icon to be at the tower. There's a move icon at the forest. So there's gonna be kind of like an interesting little thing of like if we expect Rapunzel to stay between the duckling and the forest, like are you going to try to chain that trust every turn? Because another thing is if you actually go look on Amazon of all places, it actually tells you different card names of different things. And one
Yeah,
of the
there's going to be like a let down your hair
Yeah.
card.
So I'm curious if like maybe, and that's why maybe there's a play card thing at the, or wait, is there? Hold on. Yeah, there is. Like if you go to Rapunzel's tower and Rapunzel's there and you play let down your hair, if it's like, if Rapunzel is at Rapunzel's tower, gain like 2 or 3 trust or something like that, you know, because you know she's going to move at the end of the turn. So it's like a bonus for having her be there. And I think that'll be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, wait, it says for Pete's Fate deck that you'll have Steamboat Willie, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, and more. Okay.
Except Steamboat Willie is an item. I think they
Yeah.
meant
Wait,
to say Mickey Mouse
Yeah.
with Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, because he was named Willie before
Yeah.
it was really Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, they
persona
confirmed
wasn't
it in one of the articles. It is
defined
Mickey.
yet.
Yeah.
Because it was like Steamboat Willie came out before they decided on Mickey versus Mortimer.
Yeah.
So
Right.
same
Alright.
character, just it wasn't named yet.
All right, we're ready to move on to
I
Cruella.
think if it'll just be Mickey in the Fate deck. Sure.
Yeah.
Do Cruella.
Okay.
Cruella.
Yeah.
Cruella.
Let's talk about Cruella.
Well,
So
I
quickly,
like-
her goal: start your turn with 99 captured puppies. First off, fantastic way that they've done this. By just looking at it, I'm totally in on playing this character. It looks super fun. So
And the best part is everything she has is in a perfect crimson red.
oh
it's
yes, oh my god,
That's gonna be great.
It is tasty.
and her figure, best figure in the game, like best figure. There's no I would probably like. I mean, in terms of like the actual color of it, yes. Maybe not the overall
It
design,
looks-
no.
It
But like,
looks too simple for me.
you know,
I gotta see the spotted one first.
I gotcha.
Oh, the spotted one. If you go on the Target website, you can see it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
It's not super spotted.
Kind of low res, but it's like really It almost looks more peppered than really spotted.
It still looks
it's
cool
a neat
though.
little effect.
And I'm not sure how I feel about the movers being a different color from the board. I think it definitely works for Cruella because Cruella herself, the whole black and white thing, that works. And having her be red would probably look kind of weird.
Yeah.
But like Mother Gothel is kind of, because I think they wanted her to be yellow,
Oh.
but if the board is yellow, then you can't read anything on because the writing is like a gold color, and that would just be completely invisible if her color was that yellow, for figurine.
Yeah.
And I think maybe having a brown figurine would also look terrible because it would just look like a poop flower. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting choices of colors to say the least. They're really doing something different with this set.
yeah, this time around for sure.
Yeah. I would have to say between the three, the one I'm most excited for is Cruella though. I think overall, like what we've seen so far with her cards and like how they interact with the board and like with the tokens, which we'll get into, I think it's like not too crazy, but it's also like really thematic, and it seems like it's gonna work out really well. And like even if she's like not very good, she at least looks fun to play, to try to figure that like puzzle out.
But also, like, Hell Hall is a fantastic location, and it's not like, okay, so Radigan has a 5 action space, but he also has a 3 action space. Evil Queen has a 5 action space, but one of those actions is her unique action, and she kind of needs to have it, and that makes sense. Cruella, why does she have a 5 action space? Because all of her other actions,
Yeah,
all
I
of her
know.
other spaces,
Well, I
Where
think
is-
it's this. I think
Where's
it's
her other
this.
fate?
Her other fate's at
she's
the
got
house.
one at
It'll
Milk
prob-
Farm and one at the house.
Yeah.
Oh, it is at the house.
Yeah, it's at the house.
But the reason is I'm looking at these puppy tokens in this picture,
Mhm.
and they have specific locations on them.
Yeah, that was something I
I'm
was going to talk
guessing
about.
each of the first 3 locations is going to have 2 tiles, and then Hell Hall won't have anything.
No, we've
So they
seen
kinda-
one. We've seen puppies with.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
there are
right on this
puppies.
picture. There's a puppy token
I
at Hell
can
Hall. I
only
think
see-
each location
It's a
just
lot.
has 3.
Well, then that would be 12.
Yeah, there are 12
It
puppy
makes-
tokens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't-
was completely not thinking about it then. It would have made more sense if Hell Hall didn't have any, but it's fine.
So I think the tokens with the puppy tokens, I think is interesting because we see it. So it looks like based off some cards. So there's a flashlight card where you activate it, so it's an activate spot, and then
The puppy tokens are all in the supply with your power and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, which is
Right.
odd.
yeah,
Add it to the specified location, which makes sense.
yeah.
So
they
basically,
start-
use the flashlight to put them on the board, and then you use Jasper.
Yeah,
or
they're all
Horace.
gonna start face down. You're gonna shuffle them up, I assume, and then you just pick them randomly and play them.
Yeah. And they get
I
played.
think what I'll
cards like
probably
that.
do is have the puppy tokens like in a little baggie, because I'm pretty sure that wear and
Oh, they'll
tear.
have-
Eventually, you're going to be able to tell which one is which. So just have like a little baggie.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean the token stuff that they use to make like the power and Radigan's tile is very well made. So I mean,
Yes.
granted, it will take
It
wear and
is, but
tear, but
cardboard
like,
can only last for so long.
yeah. But I mean, I'm still impressed with like the quality of this stuff. Like I think that's one of the things that blew me away. Like first time I ever played the game was like, wow, the production on this game is like, we want this game to stay out together for a long time. You know,
It's Ravensburger, yeah.
yeah, they care. But with the tokens, it seems like, so obviously it's cool. They're 11. It's 22. I assume there's at least like 133 in there, maybe.
I think like each location is going to
gotta
have
be.
2 11s and a 22.
Just stick with the 11s and the
Probably.
22.
Because
That's what I think.
having one token covers so much of the objective seems a little funny. When, like, the closest thing I can relate this to is, like, Scar's succession pile, and
That's
Mufasa
true.
only goes up to 6.
That's true.
That's only just barely that point.
Well, it was kind of funny because this is pretty close to what I was thinking originally for Cruella. Like before Evil Comes Prepared came out, I was thinking, oh, Cruella will have puppies in her fate deck, and then she'll have to capture them. And then it came out, I was like, oh, that's basically what I was envisioning for Cruella. And this way around, they can do it, having you capture puppies without too many puppies being in the fate deck.
Yeah, that was
So
my
then,
biggest
because if there
concern.
are puppies in the fate deck, then you're gonna like a third of your fate deck is cards that Cruella wants out. So
Yeah.
this way you can still have the full fate deck, but also have the capturing.
Yeah. And it seems like the Fate deck cards are going to be like, so we see Pongo right here. You can't capture puppies at his location. And it makes sense. The Colonel is like, you move a hero. So I assumed like Pongo and there's other heroes in the deck where like you can move them around to help like either return puppies back to the supply or make it so like, oh, Corell's at this location, about to capture.
Be, like,
yeah.
Wait, isn't Pongo like when he's played or moved to a location, you take back puppies?
No, Pongo is you cannot.
Pongo just
puppy
blocks them from being captured.
Then there's got to be a hero that's like when they move to a location, take back puppies or something.
Because I mean, she is a start of turn win, which means there has to be some way to undo her win conditions. There has to be a card that's uncapture a puppy.
Yeah.
There's probably things that'll let you like rescue puppies, and there's probably also things that can take them off of locations.
Yeah.
Yeah, hide them again.
And back into the supply.
So one thing I noticed too, this is like something I wasn't expecting with her, is that she actually has a vanquish action. I thought that was kind of odd, or at least unexpected, because not to say like, oh, you're trying to defeat the heroes and some of them are animals. I'm not going on that tangent, but like
the car should have been an ally.
Yeah.
You can use it.
Well, that's the thing is like she's only technically got what, 2 allies, right?
Yeah, she's got Jasper and Horus.
Yeah. So like,
and that's just as many allies as Ursula.
Yeah, it's like, and she's obviously going to need to defeat these allies, like, to get them off the board, and like those are cards that you need to capture puppies. So I assume she's got a way to defeat without using her allies, because obviously like Jasper doesn't even have a thing on them that says like, oh, if he's used to vanquish, he's not taken off the board. You know,
you may have like a thing like mortality potion that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's also
she
clear
might
that
have something like
there's like a
she
card
might
on
have
Jasper.
like a permanent.
Yeah.
She might have something that's like a permanent Alfixia that lets you play actions that are covered as long as the item's out or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how that's gonna work, because now granted, if you look at all the spaces, every space does have a card play action on the bottom. So who knows?
Yeah, so she's definitely going to be heavy on the.
Where's her power?
Card manipulation. Her power is.
I see 1 power on the right, and then I don't see any other.
She's got a game 3 at the bottom of Countryside.
Okay,
and
so it's on
a
Countryside.
game 1 at the top of the Milk Farm.
Yeah, so she's got power.
Yeah.
God, I don't like all these spaces that don't have game
really
power
closely at the I Live for Furs card, and it looks like that's power ramp too.
It's like
she doesn't have a game 2 power.
Yeah, I was about to ask. I was like, she does not have a game 2.
I'm wondering if that doesn't have something to do with the fact that Hell Hall has 5 actions.
Ooh, yeah.
That would have been where I would have put the game 2 is Hell Hall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if they traded that extra
there.
Power in favor of. That's what I'm saying is that could have been a game 2 instead, but they put an extra play card or added the discard there.
Yeah, I Live for Furs is kind
give
of
her a little more.
Like Very Merry on Birthday, sort of.
Yeah, I Live for Furs is just power ramping.
I think it's because they wanted to have her have 2 move an item or allies and 2 activates, and in order to get in everything else, they had to make Hell Hall a 5 actions. If you look at like Queen of Hearts, she has 2 activates but only 1 move. Same for Jafar.
Right.
And then Ursula has 2 moves but only 1 activate.
Yeah. She's gonna be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to playing her.
Where's her second activate?
It's at Radcliffe.
Top of Radcliffe.
It's covered by Pongo on the picture.
Yeah, you can look. You can see it if you go to the Amazon link. They got it covered over there.
They got a lot more stuff on there.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just it is some weird stuff.
For sure, I am excited for all 3 of these, and may I just say the fact that they chose to go with the classic Pete is very Kingdom Hearts Timeless River, and I love it.
Oh yeah, I knew you were going to be excited.
It's just bringing back that entire. They did use classic Pete. They used all of the black and white stuff, and they had a similar thing in Kingdom Hearts 2, actually, where you had 4 little mini games to play as part of that world.
Huh? Yeah, I forgot about that.
So.
Yeah,
it's a very close parallel, and it makes me happy.
And I just realized something. So the airport was a level. What was was it the Podunk? What's the last one?
Podunk Landing.
Podunk Landing.
What's the I forget what Podunk Landing is. What is
It's
that?
That's from
car
Steamboat
shop,
Willie.
huh?
Yeah, actually,
No,
okay.
Steamboat
I
Willie.
actually went through and found the old cartoons that Pete was in, and I figured out which
one was which?
short corresponds to which location. And it's Steamboat Willie, the male pilot. That's the airport one.
Okay.
Two Gun Mickey. That's Frontier Town, and Mickey's service station is the service station.
Right.
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I'm so because I was thinking not too long ago actually, that it was weird that they weren't going to try to get in, the original Disney shorts from
Yeah.
back when they were still playing against Fleischer Studios or whatever it was. And if they were going to try to make a character out of it, Pete would have been the one to do it because Pete was kind of the generic stand-in for whatever villain they needed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they managed to bring Pete in and cover that genre or that entire era of Disney's history here just is incredible.
It's pretty impressive.
But I do think this makes Chernobog less likely because a lot of us were thinking that Chernobog
would be Mickey.
Get in Mickey.
Yeah.
I disagree on one thing and one thing alone. Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey has always been a separate entity from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rest of Mickey's
They
persona.
could just call him the
More so
Sorcerer's
than anything
Apprentice.
else. They could just call him Sorcerer's Apprentice
Yeah.
and
I
still
guess.
do it fine.
Yeah.
And
But I still
Chernobog
think
is
it's a little
still one I
less
really
likely
am hoping
now.
for.
I'm not
It
saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying
Might
it's less
be
likely.
a little less likely, but I still think because Fantasia was a very big experiment on Disney's part, and it was really popular.
Yeah.
So
No,
it
it
would be
wasn't
kind of a
nothing. That's
mistake.
the whole point. They lost money because it was World War II.
I mean, it was popular enough for them to remake it.
So
True.
that's
Years
because
later?
it became like a cult classic because they did like reissues over the years. When it originally came out, it lost money so hard, and so did Pinocchio. Honestly,
That's
like
actually
a lot of those older movies. We only know about them now because they did reissues. It's like, oh, we've already got a movie. It costs us less to reissue an old movie than to make a whole new movie, and that's when they got their money back.
Yeah.
And that was like in the 70s and the 80s they did that, and then they did, oh, we'll throw them on video cassette.
Let's get a Disney Parks villain.
Yeah, actually, this is one thing. But before we're going to transition to the future. So we were getting on this topic. But one more thing I want to point out about Pete. We do have the return of Captain Hook's additional action card stuff. So
Yes.
like we see the
They're
Big
also
Blue
more expensive.
and Steamboat Willie. They have a 1 power and a move. So I'm kind of curious what that's going to play into all of what Pete's nonsense is.
It makes me wonder if one of his goals won't have something to do with actually having a certain amount of heroes in the realm.
Huh.
Because if you have incentive to put heroes on the board and then give yourself additional actions for when those heroes are there, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because no one else in the game really has that kind of effect, and the reason Hook has it is because he's got so many heroes he's working around, and he's playing himself. Like, you don't necessarily want TikTok gone, or you don't necessarily want the Lost Boys gone all the time, if that makes sense.
Right.
Why would you want TikTok to stay?
Because TikTok is a free discard to get down to the map if you don't have it already, basically.
Oh, but that's if he's out early and you don't have map early. Okay.
Right.
Or we're the opponent or something. It's easy to take advantage of TikTok being there.
Correct. Yeah.
But they're
I
probably
mean,
not
usually
gonna.
gonna
you'd rather just do the discard cards action so you can like select what you want to keep, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Yeah, but sometimes you desperate times call for desperate measures. Believe me, I'm used to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say you play Ursula and Hades enough that I've seen that you abide by that. So,
TikTok kind of makes me because they're both alligators, because they're both alligators. It makes me think of like if you go to Voodoo Emporium and Lewis is there and he makes you put in a math spirits in the fortune pile.
yeah,
That would
it's
suck.
rough. All right, so we're gonna transition. We talked enough about these wonderful new villains.
So excited.
That we are very excited about them. I'm just ready to crack them open, just kind of figure them all out. It's all new meta, all new characters, all new things to explore. But one thing I do want to quickly, and we don't want to ignore the fact that this is coming out, but I think the big thing now this opens up, especially when we saw Pete, is who else is coming. because we obviously were talking about this on our Discord channel. You can find our Discord channel in the description below, and there's lots of stuff we can kind of digest here about where we think the game is going.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. So I want to crack it open and kind of see.
I definitely agree. Gaston is the next big headliner.
The thing is, do we think how many more expansions do we think are going to exist?
I think at least one more.
I would say at least one.
I think it might be.
Sure.
I think it might be at least one and maybe two. I don't think there will be three more.
I've convinced myself that 3 is a pretty good chance. I almost talked myself into thinking maybe they'll do 5 and get it all the way up to 30, but that would be stretching it a little bit.
That's a little bit of a stretch. That'd be crazy.
I think 24 would be a good number of characters to end it off on, and that's 3 or more expansions.
Yeah.
So,
because
I think 3 is likely. I definitely one more is guaranteed. There's definitely going to be a summer expansion.
Yeah.
And I was mentioning this in the Discord too, but it'll have been 4 years if they do 3 more expansions, which is about the lifetime you can expect for a project like this.
Yeah.
If they were to tack another year on, that would just be because, it manages to stay that relevant that long, which would be cool. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know that it's going to make it that far. I would expect 3.
I want them to keep going until they do the Horned King. That's what I'm holding out for.
Well,
I wonder if we'll still have the server up and running by then.
Yeah, so. we'll find out. What is it? My biggest thing is
survey
headliners.
Characters. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Gaston.
There's a survey, in case y'all watching didn't know, there was a survey either right after the first set came out.
It's down now, right?
Yeah, it's down.
It's been down for a long time.
Okay.
And it was revised apparently at one point that took a bunch of the weird characters out.
I think
they took out all the
down to.
They also took out some characters after the expansions came out. I think it was still up a little bit after Evil Comes to Earth.
Yeah, it was because I saw it when I was got it. Yeah,
pared it down to, I think probably what we say 10 now that.
I think it was 10.
Perfectly Wretched's been announced. 10 more characters that they had in the survey.
Do we have a screenshot of what used to be there?
Best guess. We've got a list of who they are somewhere.
Yeah, I can pull it up really fast. Hold on.
But I don't think they would have felt confident putting a character on a survey if they had not had at least an idea of what they would do for the character in development.
What were some of the weirder ones that were on the list?
Well, Horn King was initially. I think he was one that got taken off.
Yeah, he got taken off pretty quick.
But he was one that was on there. Madame Mim is in there. Gaston's in there.
Edgar is in there, and I have
Edgar from the Aristocats.
I rewatched that recently, and I can't see a way for.
Yeah, I saw it recently too. I can't see it working.
He would be the one on that. That's the one I was thinking. Like that entire list, he's the one that stood out as you can't do this.
Like, is there a character that we have already that's in the game that we pretty much thought that it wouldn't work?
No.
I mean, I thought
anyone like
Pete
that
would be a little outlandish, but they made it happen.
I mean, I was surprised they did Ratigan as soon as they did.
I was amazed that Ratigan even happened, because I almost didn't remember that movie even existed.
I didn't know it existed until the expansion got announced.
Me too.
But, yeah, I think that survey, if you take Edgar out, because who cares?
Yeah.
Will be a really good indication of the kind of things we can expect to see in the future.
I have the rest of the characters pulled up.
Is a shoo-in.
Yeah.
He's got the list.
I have the list.
It's got to be Sean Yu, right?
Yeah, well, so let me read the list off really fast. So we have Chernabog, Cruella de Vil, Edgar, Gaston, King Candy, Lady Tremaine, Madame Mim, Madame Medusa, Mother Gothel, and Shere Khan.
So some of those have already been done.
Yeah.
Medusa's from The Rescuers, which is another Great Mouse Detective 70s era.
I watched
the one that is basically just a foil of Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, like originally that was going to be Cruella de Vil, but then they decided to make a whole new one. If they're going to do a Rescuers villain, I would rather have McLeach, because McLeach is more entertaining and he's also from a better movie.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
What movie would that be?
The Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah.
But like I said, minus Edgar, most of those I don't think they would have put on the list if they didn't have something for already. So
I haven't watched Sword in the Stone in a long time.
Madame
so-
Mim would be hilarious.
I mean, she only
love
shows
it.
up at the end, but like so does Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
And she would probably be pretty similar to Queen of Hearts because she just wants to play a game.
Yeah, Queen of Hearts just wanted to do the croquet thing. And Madame Mim, I think if you took the concept of the Wizard's Duel and made that her deck, you could have so much fun with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That would be so
Disney-
different from anything we've
Disney
seen.
Disney owns the Muppets now, right?
Oh no!
no,
Don't do that
let's
to the
not go
Muppets,
there.
man! Don't do
Let's
that.
not go there.
No, I love the Muppets, but don't put them in this game.
I
would
I
say
don't
sad.
want
And
Pixar.
then-
I don't want Muppets. I don't want Marvel.
The
I don't
ones
want,
that-
just want
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah, me
And
too.
the ones that are not on that list that I think still have a chance, Oogie Boogie. It's too popular not to have.
He wasn't on the
Uh,
list?
He was
not,
originally on
weirdly
it.
enough.
Yeah.
He wasn't one of the original ones.
He got taken
Judge
off of
Frollo.
all the Pixar ones.
I will always think
Oh,
Judge
huh.
Frollo has a chance.
Yeah, I just don't know how they're gonna do it.
I mean,
think
I've sorta done it.
Okay, if they can do Cruella and get around
they
the whole
can-
animal cruelty thing, I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
they can do
There's a
Cruella.
way. There's
Yeah,
always
there's a way.
And Hunchback of Notre Dame was huge.
Yeah,
It's
So-
it
still
was.
It definitely made more money than Hercules.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right. I
and
forgot.
Hades is here.
Jeez.
Wait, what?
Who else wasn't on the list?
Shan Yu from
Shan
Mulan.
Yu.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shan
the
Yu.
one that-
Yeah.
Yeah, Shan Yu, who's kind of a. I don't want to
What
say a
about-
shoo-in, but it's weird that he's not on that list.
He makes way too much sense
Mulan was a
because
big one,
honestly,
too.
like my way I picture him is like, so you know how we saw Pete's goal where it's like have 10 strength at a location. My thought was like, all right, so his deck is mainly filled with allies, and each location has like a little symbol on it that's like a strength number. And the goal is that you're supposed to have allies at each location that are equal to or higher than the strength number. And like the Fate deck is like trying to either move allies around or discard allies and stuff like that. I think that'd be really, because his whole thing is he's trying to conquer China. So, and it would make sense, like each one has a different value to it. And I think that's like really easy to develop. And like all the heroes are really easy to like figure out what you want them to do. I'm just surprised he's not in it yet. I guarantee it has something to do with the fact that the Mulan movie is not the same as the original Mulan movie. And we're not going to get into that conversation because,
But I mean,
Yeah.
the new Cruella isn't gonna be like Dalmatians, is it?
I think so.
I have no idea.
I have no, we
But
have
yeah, I
not
think
seen
that
anything
one of the
about
reasons
that.
why we haven't gotten Shan Yu yet is because most of the villains we've seen, the movies they're from, the villain is the more entertaining part. Like Sleeping Beauty, you remember Maleficent. You don't remember Aurora.
No.
Like Leaving Little Mermaid, you remember Ursula. And then like Great Mouse Detective, you remember Ratigan. Emperor's New Groove, you remember
Assuming you
Yzma.
remember the movie.
Lion King, you remember Scar. Whereas Mulan, you remember Mulan.
Right.
Shan Yu is kind of in the
I mean,
background.
if we want to
So
be
they would
completely
probably
technical,
add Shan Yu because they would want to add Mulan.
if we
Right.
want to be completely technical, you don't remember Mulan from Mulan. You remember Mushu.
Oh, yeah.
No, I remember Mulan.
So-
Mulan is delightful.
It's on your cow.
I need my Eddie Murphy in my life.
But yeah, I think with
Let's put in
that's my-
let's put in Master Gracie from the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no.
Well, I mean, Mother Gothel clearly proves that they're willing to step outside tradition line.
Right. So I think like she's the first step towards. Definitely, people remember Rapunzel and Flynn
King
Rider.
Candy,
They don't really remember
agree.
Mother Gothel.
With King
I-
Candy being on that list, I expect him
Yeah,
to show
okay.
up soon.
I think King Candy would work, but I'm not
I still
expecting
want
him.
King Candy.
I want
am
him.
excited for.
I
I
want
want
him.
a pink
I mean,
box.
when I
with
saw
It's
the
salmon. It's
on it, and
obviously
it's called
salmon.
like Sickly Sweet or something. I am
It's like-
so
Okay,
down.
that'd be
for that.
kinda
when I
cool.
saw him on the survey, he's the one I voted for because, of course.
I did. Yeah, I put in my vote for him
I put
For
Oogie.
who?
But yeah, I think
for King Candy.
Yeah. Yes,
I
please.
think he was. I
It would
think
be
he'll be
so-
like. I think he'll be like Ratigan, where he switches to
And-
Turbo.
I still, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I still have dreams of there being a monster themed set that's Chernobog, Oogie Boogie, and King Candy.
Oh, that'd be
As
funny.
like one of the September, October releases for Halloween.
Oh.
I still support that as being a feasible option.
Would you do King Candy's alternate as Turbo or the Turbo Cybug?
I would just do Turbo,
Okay.
honestly, myself, because the Cybug thing, who cares? That didn't like
It looked so cool.
it looked
True.
cool, but
I would do the
He
Cyborg
had
if
great
only-
one-liners.
Following a similar route to Ratigan.
I might
but
do it
Ratigan has the
as
rat at the
like
end. I think it's more likely that it would be King Candy becomes the Cybug, and that's
I might accept it as like a Maleficent dragon form scenario where they give a nod to it as the card,
Just
but
added
not really
live
worry
action.
about it. Dude, that would be sick.
No.
But yeah, I sincerely think King Candy
Here's
would be
the
really fun.
here's like the most outlandish thing that could happen, but I'm not expecting it.
Go for
And
it.
that would be the guy from Roger Rabbit.
Oh, that'd be
Judge
out
Doom.
there.
Judge Doom.
Yeah.
Um,
It would be possible, but I'm not expecting it.
yeah, I
I,
don't,
again,
No.
I think that's very unlikely.
Yeah.
because what you're looking at is most of the movies that we've seen so far are the ones that are classics, yes, but also
Uh-huh.
kind of are more aimed at kids, I guess. Hunchback of Notre Dame really starts skirting that line as far as which focus you want to go there. And by the
Oh.
time you're at Who Framed Roger Rabbit, are you kidding me?
Freaking Great Mouse Detective have mouse strippers in it, basically. So
Yeah, I
Yeah, but
watched that.
it
I
was
watched
the
the movie for the
80s.
first time
Yeah.
recently.
Different
The only
time.
time I remember watching that movie, I was like 4 and I completely missed it.
oh no.
You can't miss that with Roger
I watched
Rabbit.
it. I watched it
can't.
for the first time recently, Great Mouse Detective, and I got to that part. I'm like, wait a second, this is a kids movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well,
weird.
the 80s, like 70s, 80s were a different time. Anyway.
Yeah.
It was.
No.
The 80s.
And here's my
So,
question to
like,
all
what
of you.
are-
This is my question to all of you really fast. So, of the survey, if you had to pick 3, who's your 3? Like, who do you think is guaranteed to make it?
Okay, not who we
King
want,
Candy.
but who we think is going to
yeah,
get in.
like I'm gonna keep saying like I want
If I
Oogie
had
Boogie
to-
more than anybody, but I know he has almost like a 50% shot of making it, and I'm gonna throw him out this. So we're looking at this list right now. Who do you think
If
are
I
the 3?
if I saw the list and I picked 3 that I'm like absolutely sure are going to get into the game, I would probably say Gaston. I think King Candy has enough of a shot, and then was Shan Yu on the list?
He was not.
He is not on the list. No, he's rumored.
Then
Yeah.
they might make Cinderella work.
Yeah, that's
No.
the one I'm thinking is Lady Tremaine has to happen.
Yeah.
Cinderella and
Cinderella's
Beauty and the
one of
Beast
their
are the only 2
headline.
classic princess movies that aren't covered yet.
So
Okay.
I don't think Lady Tremaine is well known enough to headline. So I'm going to double
Not to
down on
headline,
no. I don't
on my
think-
pink box. I want my pink,
Pink
box,
box.
with King Candy. It's called Sickly Sweet. Talk to me, Ravensburger. It's going to have King Candy as the headliner, Lady Tremaine, and then who would be like a third that would sort of fit in with that theme?
There's no way you can't have Gaston in this game though. That's the problem. Like
Yeah, so Gaston can headline his own box.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
I'd always brought up like the conquest sort of Gaston, Shan Yu, maybe Shere Khan, maybe something in that mindset.
Yeah.
Shere
Could
Khan
work.
was who again?
It was a Jungle Book.
Jungle Book,
The snake?
He's a tiger.
the tiger.
Yeah, he's a
The
tiger.
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 I had thrown around the idea in my head of having a diplomacy kind of thing with Lady Tremaine and Gothel and Cruella, but that didn't happen.
Oh,
So
what was somebody saying that like they couldn't use Gaston or Clayton?
they can't use Clayton because the licensing rights to Tarzan are impossible to navigate.
Yeah, because you can use Clayton,
They
but it makes no
recently
sense to do
gave back
Clayton.
the rights to the Chronicles of Prydain, so they could do the Horned King.
They did.
Yeah.
And the Horn King is up there in terms of stuff I could like to see, but if it had to come off just that list, Lady Tremaine has a good shot. Gaston has a good shot.
King Candy.
King Candy, yeah.
Really?
I feel like because here's the thing: King Candy, Mother Gothel, Frollo, getting into Yzma, all kind of represent the modern Disney era, so to speak. The only other thing you can really do is pull Hans, pull
No.
whoever the thing from Coco was, and I don't want them to do that.
No.
No,
So
no,
I'll
no
take-
Pixar, no Pixar.
I'll
thank you.
take
Yeah.
I'll take King Candy.
Wow.
I mean,
as the
they
next
could
modern-
potentially do the mask guy from Big Hero 6.
Yeah, okay, Yokai would be sick.
If
I would
they're
give
going
them
to
that.
do a Pixar movie, they're probably going to wait until Onward comes out and do whoever the villain is from that.
If there even is a villain.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
There
I'm
is one.
I don't know
assuming
that there's going to be
a-
much of a villain for that movie.
I don't know.
Not in the same vein as these, anyway.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a brothers road trip. I don't think there's going to be a villain.
yeah, unless one of the villains is one of the brothers. You know, you get one of those like Toy Story 1 movies where Woody is strictly the villain. You know.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
If I
What
had
do you
to pick
call a character that's a protagonist and an antagonist at the same time?
An anti-hero.
protagonist? Words?
Protagonist.
Anti-hero.
Oh.
Anti-hero
Yeah, I
words.
guess. Well,
A
Oh, there's
protagonist.
okay. I remember learning in fucking middle
Protagonist,
school.
I love
word
that.
for it. God.
Is there?
I'm
Is
pretty
there
sure it's
actually a word for
anti-hero.
that?
I'm pretty sure.
It's
anti-hero
not, okay, it's not
fits
for like
the-
a protagonist/antagonist, but it's like it's a word for a protagonist who's kind of a dick and never learns anything. Like Huckleberry Finn tends to be like.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. If I had to pick from the list, and you guys are gonna hate me for this, all right? Because I'm gonna go against the grain, and this is what I honestly believe. If the last expansion came out August time, which I assume which will come out, the three from this list, Gaston, Tremaine,
Yeah.
and Shere Khan.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
here's my
that would make
reasoning for not including King Candy. I think he does have more of a shot. You guys have convinced me more. Having said that, I feel like between King Candy and Khan, King Candy probably has a cooler design aesthetic, but I think what people remember from Wreck-It Ralph is really the character Wreck-It Ralph. And not to say King Candy's a bad villain. I do think he's a good villain. I just don't think design-wise, because you guys mentioned it, is like it's way too much like Ratigan, where it's like he has this one mode, he's trying to win a race. He's trying to erase Penelope from existence.
Well,
And then he gets to this point, he
Wait.
flips, goes turbo, everything goes batshit crazy.
What if his turbo or Cybug version? What if he has another deck for that?
I think that'd be
That'd be
going
neat.
way too weird.
But
I mean, I think it's cool, but I don't know.
to that, we have evidence here already. Shere Khan is so like poorly known. Like it's like we just had him mistaken for Ka, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's
Like,
true.
King Candy has so much more popular value than Shere Khan does. Like, I understand them wanting to bring Shere Khan because The Jungle Book itself was a good movie, but if you get to the point where the character's name gets lost in the midst of
You
all
have-
these
okay,
little
you have
minor
heroes,
things, like
You have heroes for him, but like, what's he gonna do?
I mean, I think his whole gimmick is the
I
fact
mean,
that
his
like
goal
he
is
kills.
to defeat Mowgli.
Yeah. So like his
Kill
thing is he's
child.
trying to find Mowgli. He defeats heroes by like playing a card, you know, and he like pays power to defeat them like so. He doesn't have allies out on the board. I think
I mean, he would have Ka as an ally, but there aren't really any other possibilities for allies for
No.
him.
You can use him to hypnotize heroes.
yeah, that's true. You could do something weird like that. I'm just really conflicted because I think you guys make some really good points for King Candy, but I just don't. I still believe that like if you ask the common person who watched Wreck-It Ralph, I don't think they'll talk about King Candy. Like us that are in more to this movie stuff, we might talk about it more. But
Oh, I
like,
talked about King Candy.
I know
when
you like
came
King
out of
Candy a lot.
like, yeah, King Candy.
yeah.
No, but it's gotta be Zangief.
Oh yes, we need Zangief. That's what we need. We need a grappler in our
Crush
Disney villainous game.
expansion
That's what we need.
skull.
Sure, why not?
we need our 360 motions. You know,
Crush Oogie's skull like Sparrow's egg between his thighs.
that was a beautiful quote.
Okay.
But I think that's my gut feeling. I don't think so. I guarantee you the next expansion has to have Gaston in it. I don't think we're
Unless
seeing.
they want to save him for the very last headliner.
Yeah, which would be really odd.
Assuming that the next one isn't the last.
But my
I
question
think
is,
as soon
is
as
like,
Gaston comes and he's the face.
he's the
I think when Gaston comes and he's the face of the box, I think that's the last one.
Because like I mean, who else would you use to headline? I think Oogie's like the only one that would be like, and we're just talking marketing here. Like I'm not saying all these other
I still
characters
think
can't
King
do it.
Candy could headline.
You still think?
Again, pink box, sickly sweet, get at me, Ravensburger.
You got me there. That does
Wait
sell
on
me a
that.
little bit more. That does do it.
Yeah. If they do decide to use Chernobog, I think they could get away with Chernobog headlining just because he's such a
We need a blue
icon
box.
almost.
Yeah, I think a
Not
blue
that
box is
anybody
needed.
necessarily knows his name, but like everybody knows that image of the demon on top of the mountain.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like there's
We
nothing
also
more
don't know
intimidating.
too much. There's going to be a new movie at the end of this year called Raya and the Last Dragon. I think it's based on like Vietnamese folklore or something. We know nothing about this movie. Maybe there is a villain. Maybe they could do a tie-in there. I mean, I was thinking they would do a tie-in for Frozen 2, but then Frozen 2 didn't have a villain. The villain was your past. And stuff.
The thing is, like, they had a sort of an opportunity with Mulan to do a tie-in, and a little bit
You're not gonna tie in
later on with
live-action
the
remake movie.
Cruella movie, and they're not doing it, or they didn't do it.
No.
Yeah, Cruella's
I
not
don't
even. When
know
does
if-
Cruella even come out?
Comes
This
out in
summer.
December sometime.
Like this summer,
Yeah.
which would have been, the right time for the next expansion. I don't think they're worrying about tie-ins. I don't think that's something we can
Yeah.
rely on.
Yeah, obviously not anymore. No.
So you think that Evil Comes Prepared was coincidence with the Lion King?
I think it's very coincidental.
Oh,
I think it
forgot
was.
about that.
Yeah.
I think it was.
I think Scar
I
was too
forgot about
popular
the Lion
not to
King.
include him that early in the expansions.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot the Lion King live-action movie came out.
Everyone did.
Yeah,
Don't worry
I
about
never
Yeah,
did
no,
watch
yeah,
it.
a little bit.
it. I only heard the soundtrack, and it's not inspiring.
Oh yeah,
at all.
no,
It's
don't even
not
bother. It's gonna
beyond
make you sad.
sweet.
I mean,
yeah,
honestly, I'm not even that big a fan of the original movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's a discussion for
Yeah,
another day.
we'll save that for off the podcast.
Tim's fighting.
Well, we'll
words.
wait until we're talking about Scar.
Yeah, we'll
Wait,
save the
so-
Civil War for our next show.
So, not on the list. Who is like your number one wish list character that's not on the list?
Horned King.
Boogie,
Yeah,
boogie,
so I knew that one.
Boogie.
I want Oogie. I also actually really like the Horned King. I think those two.
I am the
I'll
anti-Oki.
take either one.
Yeah, I know you don't
Alright,
want Oogie.
so
Yeah.
completely unrelated to you guys, I want Silver from Treasure Planet.
Yes, I would love Long John. That'd
see,
be great.
Shut up. I don't
maybe
care.
the
But-
thing is, that movie came out in the middle of one of Disney's worst time
So did
periods.
Emperor's New Groove,
to
but we got
date.
Yzma.
Emperor's New Groove was at the very. Was it like in the middle or was it the very
I
end
think
of
it was
that
2000.
time?
Okay,
It
you're
was
the
right
one who
after
doesn't like
Tarzan.
Lilo and Stitch, so you're not allowed to
What?
talk.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't like Lilo
Yeah, I
and
hated
Stitch?
it. I hated it. I hated it.
I think it's okay. I don't think it's bad.
I'm going to have to take back your life privileges.
No, I totally get that. That's what I say. Y'all probably won't like.
Okay,
some of
yeah,
the
there you go.
things I
Okay,
like about
I
this
want-
game.
I want King Candy, I want Gantu, and I want Silver. There we go. That's my next expansion.
See,
Screw theming. Those are my characters.
If I wanted a dream set, I think it'd be
But
Oogie.
Gantu isn't even really a villain.
I don't
Gaston.
care.
He's kind of an antagonist, but he's not really like a villain. The movie's about like.
Okay, fine. Then do Stitch the movie and do Hamsterville.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
God. So
You're
let's
not
let's
making it
stay
better.
away from the direct to VHS nonsense.
Yeah.
We need direct to VHS. I got that stuff on DVD.
I think we're gonna wrap up this conversation because we're right
That's
at the
good.
hour mark. But I think this is really
Alright.
great. I think overall, I think we've learned that no one wants Oogie. I think we all want King Candy more than Oogie Boogie.
no, I want Oogie.
Yeah, I know.
I've been telling you this.
I just gotta give you some crap. Well, you guys have had me
Also
more
want
convinced on
Cruella.
King Candy, so I'll give you guys that. You guys have changed my mind. So how about that?
I think
I've changed my ways.
he would be of the modern characters they have to pick from. I think he's the best.
He's the best
I-
one.
Because
a long shot.
Mother Gothel's the most recent character, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and before that it was Yzma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
No, Dr. Facilier.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
Doctor.
right. Facility was 2010. That's right.
Best character
No,
in the
Facilier
game
is
too.
2009.
One of my favorites.
2009, close enough.
All right.
Wasn't? Yeah, he was the
Um,
same. Princess and the Frog was the same year Avatar came out, right?
See,
Yes,
this will this will really make y'all hate me. I didn't ever watch Princess and the Frog either. I just know the stuff.
Oh, really?
People didn't.
You should. Okay, I
Yeah.
don't hate you for that. You should probably watch the movie. It's a pretty good
I
movie.
probably should.
It's actually not a bad
It's a pretty
movie.
good
Like, believe it or not, it's actually really
the thing
good.
is, and I'm gonna go ahead and just be honest with this because I can. I live in Louisiana, and boy, those stereotypes.
No, yeah, I gotcha. Oh, dear.
Yes. There are jokes that you will only understand if you live in Louisiana.
Oh,
No,
I forgot to make I forgot to make this joke earlier, but I was gonna say like move over, Dr. Facilier. You want to take over New Orleans? Sean Yu, he wants to take over all of China. Like,
That-
get on my level.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And then
No,
there's
that was-
Doofenshmirtz who
I
just
think
wants to take
probably-
over a small city.
The one hurdle to me watching that movie is because the stereotypes.
Oh yeah, I understand that completely.
It's gonna be painful.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the show. So thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, folks, for joining me on this lovely show
Heck
where we
yeah.
just, I think we went in a direction I wasn't expecting towards the end there, but it was great. Well, until next time, folks. Next time on Let's Get Wicked, we'll be talking about our tier list and who we think is the best, and probably kill each other over the show.
Best character in the game.
Until next time.
Disneyville and the Civil War.
Are you ready?